Hi, and thanks for taking a look at this brief overview video of what you should be expecting in your one-to-one. The reason why I put the video together is to cover a couple of different things really. First and foremost is to give you an overview of the coaching system and what you should be expecting from our meeting when we meet up in the next couple of weeks. The second thing is to help you identify whereabouts you are right now and what strategies you can be implementing in the next couple of weeks, even before we meet. The business owners that I meet with often are in one of three areas. They've got a good business that's making some profit, but they don't know what the next phase is for them. They've got a good business that's profitable, but it's solely reliant upon them being there. So taking a holiday, picking the kids up from school, or doing your hobbies becomes really difficult. And the third thing is you just can't see the wood from the trees. You'd like to make more money, you'd like to get better teams involved, and you just don't know how to get that work-life balance. Wherever you are right now, the one thing that I can guarantee is what we're going to be going through in the next couple of weeks is going to help you identify where we need to go. So let's have a look at the coaching system. The first thing to look at is how we define what a successful business looks like. The majority of people that own and operate businesses right now in the UK have a business that works, but if they stop working, so does the business. So our definition of a successful business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. Now, what I'm not talking about here is that you want retirement. What we're talking about is flexibility, freedom of choice. So you can choose when you work, how you work, and what work you do when you do it. Think about it this way, that you can decide that you want to take Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, knowing that that's not going to affect the results of the business. You can do the work that you enjoy to do, the stuff that you get most pleasure from, the stuff that adds the most value to the business, without worrying about the other things that need to get done in the business. Now, I appreciate that that's not a simple thing to do, so let's give you an overview of how we get the business to that point. So here's our 6 steps that we focus on. The first area that we look at when we're working with a business is what we call mastery. This is about getting some direction and some control into the business. The second thing is the niche element or the marketing element, how you can start compounding the results of the business. Once we've steadied the ship and we're getting some predictable cash flow in the business, the third area that we start looking at is leverage. This is where we really start encompassing the power of systems and processes. When we've got some great systems in place, the fourth area that we look at is your team. So how your team can operate the great systems and processes that we've put together. The fifth and sixth element is how we can get all the previous parts working together consistently, giving you the results that you want in your business. So let's take a look at the first area. So mastery is all about getting something that's commercial, so developing a commercial enterprise. And there's 4 areas that we focus on. The first area is destination. If you think about it, this is really your roadmap for success. And the way to really look at destination mastery is this. Let's say today that you decided that you wanted to go on holiday, but you didn't choose where you were going and you didn't know how you were going to get there. What's the likelihood of you ever achieving or especially getting to where you wanted to go to? The answers are either slim to none. Now let's put that analogy into your business. Who right now are you specifically working to a 12, 3, 5-year plan with a destination at the end of it? Or are you going into the business every single day expecting and hoping that the business will eventually change? One thing that is true, if you want to change the results in your business, you have to change yourself. So the first thing we want to do is to identify where are we going with this. Once we're clear on where we're going, the second thing that we're going to look at is money mastery, or the financial aspects of your business. Making sure that we've got some specific KPIs in place so we can make a profit. And it's a predictable profit at that. The third area is your time as the business owner and making sure that you're getting the most value from the time that you put in. During our one-to-one session, we'll be picking out specific strategies that you can implement into the business immediately to start regaining some time back. And the final area is delivery mastery. I don't mean delivering something in the post. We're talking about how you deliver the services or products that you do in your business. We're looking at systematic consistency to make sure that your customers know what they're getting when they're getting it. And that's down to the business, not down to the people. So let's just go through those 4 areas again. Destination, knowing where you're going. Money, getting some predictable financial dashboards in place. Time, getting control of it and making sure that you're getting the most value from it. And the fourth area is getting some consistency about how you deliver the products and services that you deliver. Now, most business owners that I speak to, their business works because they work, not because the business does. When we get these foundation pillars in place, we've actually got a business that's starting to work. We've got the basis of processes in place where we can look at some predictability in your organization. Once we've got that, we can then work on the second area. The second area is niche, which is where we're really starting to pull the profitable element into the business. We're getting predictable cash flow. Most people that I speak to don't have a marketing plan, let alone are they putting strategies into place on a regular or frequent basis to get better results when it comes to their marketing. Some of the areas that we look at is what's your uniqueness? What makes you stand out from the crowd? Right now, so many businesses are competing on price, and the one thing that's true for that is there can only be one cheapest. If you're not the cheapest, you're probably going to lose out. And if you are the cheapest, you're probably not going to be in business for very long. By defining your uniqueness, your unique selling proposition, this enables you to communicate your value across, what separates, what makes you different from your competition. So price doesn't become the number one motive. It becomes value. What do you do different? Once we've got a USP, the second thing that we'll look at is how you can guarantee delivering that to business owners. When I speak with you in the next couple of weeks, we'll look at how we can identify certain things that you're doing right now that you might not be shouting about from the rooftop. If you think about some really simple things that fairly large organisations have done in the last few years to really separate them from their competition. Domino's is a great example. So Domino's will guarantee that you'll get a pizza delivered within an hour, that it's going to be piping hot, and it's going to be a great product. And if you don't, they'll give you the money back. So they've tested that they can make sure that they can deliver on that, but it separates them from their competition. What they don't do in their marketing is to say, we're going to charge you twice as much as your local pizzeria. They communicate the value that they're offering. Again, when we meet up in the next couple of weeks, we'll look at the things that you're doing to separate you from your competition and how you can communicate them better in your marketing. Again, when I'm speaking to business owners, there's very little testing and measuring happening in your business. And what I mean by testing and measuring is looking at the areas that make up your organization. So most business owners that I speak to, they know how many customers they've got. They know what their turnover or their revenue is. And they know how much profit they've made or they haven't made. But if you really look at those things, they're all outcomes. They're just the results of everything that you've done before. This is where testing and measuring really comes into play. So let's look at a basic business. A business is made up of 5 key elements. The number of leads, so the amount of people that are interested in doing business with you. Times that by the amount of people that actually do business with you. That will give you your conversion rate. So number of leads times by conversion rate equals the amount of customers that you're doing business with over a 12-month period. Then we'll start looking at, on average, how many people actually transact with you on an annual basis. I get that some of your customers will buy 5 times, some of them will buy 1. What we're interested in here is the mean average of the business. These are the predictable elements that we can start to plan around. Once we know on average how many transactions your customers are using or doing with you, the fourth element that we'll be looking at is on average how much do they spend with you. Again, you'll have some customers that'll spend 100 and some customers that'll spend 10, or some customers that'll spend 10,000 and some customers that'll spend 1. Somewhere in the middle is your mean average. Now, if you put those 4 numbers together, what you've got is your turnover, your revenue, or your top line sales. We'll then look at your margin, which will give you the profitability. In 15 years of working with business owners, I'm yet to meet a business that these 5 areas do not apply to them. Even charities, you're looking at how many people are looking at donating with you versus the actual number of donations. So let's put in some basic numbers. This business here is getting 4,000 opportunities into their business every single year. So this is 4,000 people that are interested at some stage to do business with them. Their conversion rate is 25%. So 25% of the people that are interested in doing business actually do business with them in any given 12 months, which will give this company 1,000 customers that they transact with. On average, they'll purchase twice from them. Again, some customers 10 times, some customers 1. But when we look at the total transactions, on average, their customers will transact twice a year. On average, they spend £100 with them, which will give them revenues of £200,000. They've got a margin of 25%, which means that a gross profit is £50,000. Now, here's a couple of things to focus on. First and foremost, out of those 8 different numbers that you can see in front of you, how many do you know right now? How many numbers are you actually testing different marketing or different strategies to increase those numbers? Because one thing that's true in business is if you don't know the number, you certainly can't improve it. And if you did improve it, you won't know what you're doing to get the outcome that you've got. A really good thing for you to be doing in the next week or so, in between now and our meeting, is to start looking at your numbers. Ascertain how many leads you are generating right now. What is your conversion rate? Getting your accounts out and working out what your average order values are. One thing is for sure, if you don't know the number, it's going to be extremely difficult to improve them. During our meeting, we can then start looking at how we can put some strategies in place to get some predictable increases on your numbers. But for now, let's just focus on getting a really small increase with the business that we're looking at on the screen. Even just a 10% increase on those 5 areas, and let's look over those. So number of leads will go from 4,000 to 4,400. When you work with us, we've got about 350. Start again. What I'd really like you to do in between now and our meeting is to start getting some of your numbers. How many leads are you generating? What your conversion rate is? Get your accounts out to work out your average order value. One thing is for sure, if you don't know what the numbers are, it's going to be extremely difficult to improve them. And even if you do, it's going to be difficult to work out what you did or how you did it. During our meeting, we can then focus on how we can look at some strategies to get you some predictable increases. But for now, let's just focus on getting a very small increase of, let's say, 10%. So on this business here, we'll look at leads going from 4,000 to 4,400. When you work with us, we've got over 350 strategies that we can implement into the business to improve these areas. So getting a 10% increase is fairly easy to do. Just by working out how many leads you're actually getting, so you can make some good decisions about where you should be investing money for your marketing, will just get you that 10% increase. Getting good sales training or a good sales process will get you the additional 2.5% that you're looking for on your conversion rate. And when you put those 2 numbers together, your customers actually go to 1,210. Again, number of transactions goes from 2 to 2.2. That might just be simple things like educating your customers about additional products and services that you actually provide. It might mean just getting in touch with them and letting them know you're still alive. There's so many people that I speak to who'll just do business with a customer and wait for them to come back at some point in the future without being proactive and nurturing the relationship. I get there's lots and lots of things that you've got to do in your business, but being proactive in relationships is really, really important. So let's say we work on the average sale and we take that from 100 to 110. Again, we're not thinking of groundbreaking numbers here. What we want is to compound the 5 areas together. So all of a sudden the revenue has gone from 200 to 292,820. If you speak to any accountant, provided that we've not spent any money on that, your margin's already gone up. But let's just say that we've put your prices up by 10%, which takes you from 25 to 27.5. By the way, for the people that are interested in putting their prices up but are a little bit scared about what the consequences may be if they did do that, make sure you bring that up in your one-to-one. That takes the profit from 50,000 to 80,525. The interesting thing here is some of you are now scratching your head to wonder, well, if we've only increased the areas by 10%, how have we got a £92,000 increase in turnover and a £30,000 increase in profit? Now, we can't take credit for this. Albert Einstein actually came up with a theory of compound interest. And what's true with your business numbers is when you work on multiple areas, you compound the results. So what you've actually got is a 46% increase in your revenue and a 61% increase in your profitability. The question is, what would you do with an extra 46% increase in your sales? What would you do with an extra 61% increase in your profit? Think about it. How would you reward yourself? What would that allow you to do in the business? How would that allow you to reward your family? Because that's just with a 10% increase. When you start looking at 20, 30, 40, and 50, the numbers start really getting interesting. Once we've got some predictable cash flow into the business and we've got those 4 foundation pillars, you've actually got a commercial, profitable enterprise. Now we're working on the element of getting your business to work. And we work on some fundamental things here. The first thing is systems. What we want to do is we want to save you some time and some energy. Again, the results that you're getting from your business are normally down to you, not the organization. Think about it this way. If suddenly today you decided that you were going to go to Aruba, of all places, and you were going to go there for 90 days, you weren't going to take your mobile, you weren't going to take a laptop, nobody could get in touch with you. Customers, people. What would you come back to in 90 days' time? Would you come back to a business that's flourishing, that's working with more customers? Would you come back to a business that was really struggling? Or would you come back to dust? Now, wherever you are, really be honest with yourself at this point in time and start thinking, where are the areas that would start to fail first? These are the areas that we need to start looking at systems. So some people at this point in time will be looking at, they'll say, well, most of the customers contact me. Okay, so how can we get a system in place to educate your customers not to call you? Some people will say, well, people just don't get invoiced. I do all the invoicing. Well, if that is you, again, how can we put a system in place to make sure that we can automate the invoicing in your business? Some people will say, well, I do all the rotas for my people. Okay, so let's look at how we can put a process in place with your people to make sure that the rotas get done whether you're there or not. But the main thing is you're honest with yourself. Really look at the areas that are going to start failing first, because these are the areas that we need to systemize. I'd really like you to do that now. Please write down the 3 areas where you feel you may struggle with if you decided to take those 90 days off. What areas of the business would struggle first? And these are the 3 areas that we can look at when we meet in your one-to-one. These are some basic things that you should start looking at creating systems around. I'll go into in a lot more detail of what we mean by vision, mission, and culture. But really the vision is where you're going, the mission is how you're going to get there, and the culture is the rules of the game that you and every single person that transacts and works in your business must abide by in order to get there. The 4th thing is SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, within a time frame. Not just for you, but for the business. Not just for the business, but also for your people. If everybody's working to the same goal, the chances are you've got a much better chance of getting there. The 5th thing is having an organizational chart, not just for now, but later down the line. So where are the areas in the business that we need to start looking at creating systems to then recruit as the business grows and expands? The 6th area is positional contracts, basically explaining what you expect from your members of staff and what they should expect in return. This is not a contract of an employment, this is a contract about their position, what you expect from them and what they should expect from you. The 7th thing is key performance indicators. Again, not just for the business, not just for you, but every single member of staff that you've got within your organization. The 8th is the how-to systems. How-to systems really explain how to do the job of the business. And that could be anything from customer service, sales, how to organize stock. Making sure that you've got a how-to system in place means your business is working, you're not. And the final thing is management systems. How you work with your people, how you work with your products, and how you work with your customers. Once we've got those 9 simple systems in place, your business is now working. So the first 3 areas that we've worked on, we've gained something that's a commercial enterprise. We've added some profit in through getting some predictable marketing in place. Now we've looked at putting some systems in place so your business is now working. The 4th area is really getting that team working. It's getting that team working, the systems that you've put into place, so it now works without you. What you've got here is freedom, is flexibility, is choice, the thing that you actually went into business for in the first place. In 15 years of working with business owners, I'm yet to meet somebody that said, the one thing that I wanted to be in business for is so I could never take a holiday again. You went in it because you wanted that flexibility. You went into business because you wanted that choice. You went into business because you didn't want the demanding manager expecting you to work the weekends, expecting you to work nights without the gratitude of actually doing it. Getting your team to work effectively is the key to your freedom. Think about it this way. Most businesses work like this. As the owner, you work with a team. Also as the owner, you're working with your customers. Also as the owner, you're working with your business. So it feels like you're on this merry-go-round all the time. By putting some simple processes in place and management structure, your role as the business owner is to educate, manage, motivate, and coach your team. Your team's job is then to deal with your customers. The customers take care of the business, and the business takes care of you. Getting this cycle into place as early as we possibly can is the key to your flexibility. Once we've got those 4 areas into place, you've now got some opportunity and some choices. Some people will decide that they want to duplicate what they've done. So take a business from Sheffield and move them to Rotherham, or move it to Wakefield, move it to London, maybe move it to a different country. Some people want to learn, well, now that we're making a lot more money, what's the most effective ways of investing that cash to move yourself and your family forward in the future? Some people will take what they've learned and start duplicating in other areas of business, either buying other competitors and adding them to their portfolio. The main thing is you've got freedom. The main thing is you've got a business that's working so you don't have to. I've always loved this quote from Richard Branson, and if anybody here in the UK knows how to set up a successful business, I would say Richard's one of those. And what he says is, once you've learned how to run one business, there's no reason why you can't run a number of businesses all at the same time, because the principles are still the same. As a coach, the one thing that I cannot do, let's give you an example. If you're a hairdresser, I certainly can't help you cut hair any better. If you run a garage, I definitely can't help you be a better mechanic. One thing that I can do is help you become a better owner of a hairdressing business. And once you've understood the key principles of how to run the business, you can implement that in any business that you want. Personal mentor of mine that I've worked with now for over 15 years. He said this a long time ago to me, and it really, really made an impact, which is, where you'll be in 5 years' time will depend on a couple of different things. The books that you read and the people that you associate with. But more important than anything, it's the actions that you take. If you keep on doing the same things, you'll always get the same results. He added to this by saying, if you don't know where you're going to be in 5 years, you're probably already there. That stuck with me a long time, which is why one of the key focuses that we have when we coach businesses is getting a predictable plan in place so you know where you're going. And again, one of my sporting icons, the godfather of golf in my opinion, always says no matter how tough you think you are or how good you think you are, you can't do this on your own. In my opinion, coaching is no longer a luxury that's used for top executives to get better results. This is now a necessity. If you think of UK business and the UK business economy, the stats are quite overwhelming. 81% of organisations will deregister their organisation within the first 5 years of trading. Over 90% of businesses in their first 10 years will go out of business. That's not taking into consideration the people that are still plugging away after 10 years, but still not living the life that they want. But if you want different, you've got to be different, you've got to do different. And let's focus that on your one-to-one. Now, if you haven't already, please fill out your business questionnaire. Again, that will really help us focus our effort and energy and our time together on you and your business and how we can get the 6 steps working for you. Thanks ever so much for investing the time looking at how the system can potentially help you and your business move forward. I want to know, what are the areas that we need to focus in your one-to-one? What are the areas that are going to get the best results for you? And if you haven't already, invest 10 minutes now filling in your business background questionnaire. It's on the same page that I shared with you just a few moments ago. You look at the bottom of the screen, click on the link and fill that in. Again, this will allow us to focus on you and your business, the results that you can get for you and your family. Once again, thanks for investing the time, and I look forward to seeing you soon.